Today on the news and why it matters, the Second Amendment rally turnout in Virginia. Also, the New York Times endorses not one, but two presidential candidates, and Elizabeth Warren is the least self-aware person ever. Got a lot to get into, and it starts right now. Happy Monday. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by the one and only Mr. Glenn Beck himself. Hello, Glenn.
Hello.
We've got Jason Buttrell, chief researcher of the Glenn Beck program, and Giancarlo Sopo from the
You always got to go with the Italian pronunciation.
Yeah. I can't say it any other way.
Even though you are Hispanic.
Yes.
That's weird. It's weird. Although you're wearing this, I want to say, Sarah, hi, fire.
I do have more Native American in me than Elizabeth Warren.
Well, you kind of have the caveman look going there with the furry thing. Fire, meat.
Well, it's Monday, obviously. We've got a lot to get into. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Relief Factor, which is probably why Glenn's laughing and in a good mood today.
Mm-hmm. It is, actually, it is. Don't have any pain today, and one of the reasons is because of Relief Factor. Best I've felt in years and years and years. Take it 3 times a day. I highly recommend you try it. I'm lucky enough to be married to somebody who said to me, "I'm not listening to this anymore. Let's try that." And that's exactly the way she said.
That doesn't sound like a compliment.
Oh yeah.
No,
she's beautiful. And so I said, "Honey, it's not gonna work for me. It's all natural." You're not gonna listen to it. Let's just try it.
I've talked to her. She doesn't sound like that.
Exactly like that. You should live with her. Exactly.
I'm telling. I'm so telling.
No, her dad's in the hospital. No,
oh,
she's not watching
that.
right now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the cone of silence. But anyway, I tried it and it works for me. It'll work for you. 70% of the people who try it, it works. Do it.
So you can get the 3-week quick start pack. See if it works for you. It's only $19.95. You can go to relieffactor.com. That is relieffactor.com. So the pro-Second Amendment rally took place in Virginia today on Martin Luther King Day, of all the days, and it did draw just a massive amount of protesters. If you are watching on television, you can see all of the people standing outside and around the Capitol. Of course, they were
probably all shooting each other at that point.
Oh,
Look
wait.
at how many are outside of the gate.
Yeah, there's a bunch that could not get in.
They didn't try.
I mean, it's just incredible to see. Of course, they were protesting all of the gun control legislation that has taken place in Virginia in recent months. The 3 latest bills that made it through on Thursday include a law that will allow local authorities to ban weapons from public spaces during some events, another that limits handgun purchases to 1 a month, and a law requiring background checks for all firearm purchases.
Okay, they already have background checks. What this also includes is a 51% certainty law. If I am 51% certain you're trouble, I can get the police to come and take away all your firearms. And then you have to prove to me that my certainty is mistaken. Once you do that, you'll probably never get your guns back, but we'll remove you from all the lists. This is a constitutionally protected freedom. Imagine, liberal Democrats, if I came to you and the Republicans won by 10,000 votes, and they said in your state, you know what? I'm 51% certain that this person is a danger to America because of the views that they hold. We can't allow them to be teaching. We can't allow them just to higgledy-piggledy just go out into public and say these things. I'm 51% certain they're a problem.
We're 51% certain that all these veterans returning back from foreign wars have such bad PTSD that they can't have weapons either. There's so many bad things, and they gloss over these things, like the universal background check, which everyone that's ever looked into this knows that's one step closer to gun registration.
Yes.
That's exactly what that's
but
for.
We have The
background
NRA
check,
is the one who designed the universal background check. They were the ones pushing it.
And the selective, where they said that they're allowing it to where some people can designate certain, or some municipalities can designate different places as gun-free zones. That's in addition to. So like they're just writing this law, and it's basically a blank check for random states to say, okay, well, I know the law doesn't let us do this here as it was before, but now we're going to say it's banned there, it's banned there, it's banned there, and it's banned there because it's our city.
Notice that it is banned at certain events as well. So in other words, I'm a gun owner. I carry a gun. You are too. You graduated to the big boy table in Texas yet?
I'm getting there.
He hasn't yet. I'm going to take him to the gun range.
So you do.
Yeah.
And as we go places, you have to check. If you're going someplace new, you check.
Yes.
You find out. If you went there last week and you could carry your gun, but the law says that this week you can't carry your gun because there's somebody in the building or something, that makes me a criminal. That makes me, I have to go do something extra so I'm not a criminal. I'm already checking. If you're changing them back and forth, that's really, really unfair.
Can I also ask really quickly, this 51% certainty, do you have to like show your work somehow on that?
No, you just have to go to a judge. Seriously.
I mean, that's just, 51%, yep, that's where it is. What could possibly go wrong?
The one that seems like the craziest to me is the limit on how many guns you can purchase. First, it's blatantly unconstitutional. There's no limit. There's no constitutional limit on how many guns you can purchase. Secondly, the people who designed that clearly don't know anything about guns. You might need a rifle just to go hunting, and then a personal handgun for protection. So people who own guns have different needs for them. So just to impose these arbitrary limits on them seem completely unreasonable.
How many you've been shooting at my house? How many handguns do I have? A billion?
A billion.
A billion. And I think I bought the handguns because I bought them for everybody in the family. I bought them for people that are going to come up to, shoot at the ranch and stuff. And then I also collect them. In 1 year, I probably bought 20 handguns. Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is specifically for handguns. You can only buy one handgun a month. I thought it was long arms that we were worried about. Not long arms, assault weapons. Those are the ones they were really worried about. Just get rid of the assault weapons. Now you're going after handguns? Really?
And I agree with your points that it's not up to the government to determine what you need to use for whichever endeavor you are undergoing. But I think more importantly, we lose sight of the fact, because we keep defending that position, we lose sight of the fact that that shouldn't even be part of the equation at all. Really, we are supposed to be able to keep and bear arms. We want to keep the government from becoming tyrannical. And further, it's just not up to them to dictate what we use with the guns in the first place.
Try this out for size. Governor Northam said, we can't let these gun nuts come to talk to politicians with guns. So we're banning all guns here. Wait, why do we have guns again? We have guns for the Second Amendment. So if we really got pissed, all they have to do is just say, and over by my house, you can't have any guns. And over here, you can't have any guns. It's ridiculous. It is like King George.
Yeah.
We have a right to keep you in check. And what are you doing? You're proving our point that you are slippery by saying, oh, by the way, anywhere I am, can't have a gun.
Well, there was a lot of law enforcement that showed up at the rally on the side of the rally goers, the protesters. Here is what Grayson County Sheriff Richard Vaughn had to say today.
If the bills go through as proposed, they will not be enforced. They're unconstitutional. We swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Virginia, and that's what we'll do.
Good for you.
Sheriffs. Good for him.
Sheriffs, you have to know your local sheriff.
Yeah.
Have to.
So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because I know there were chants of Northam out, Northam out. The people are really not happy with the assembly and with Governor Blackface.
Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that the first thing that they did in Virginia was change the rules on how many signatures you need to start an impeachment process of the governor? They knew that they never thought they would get to a 20% threshold. I will bet you that they will beat that 20% threshold if they really wanted to. If these gun laws go into effect, it was 10%. Just get 10% signatures of the state, and then we will start proceedings in that direction. Then the first thing they do after everybody's elected, you're going to be safe. 20 or 25% of the population now has to have signature on paper saying we want you out. They knew it, and they protected him so he would be willing to sign it.
The funny thing about the law enforcement there that you bring that up, I was checking because I wanted to see what the police presence was and how badly they were reacting to all these scary militias and white nationalists that were supposedly showing up. And every time I looked it up, I'd Google it. And that was what would pop up, the sheriffs that were marching in solidarity.
Yes.
Couldn't find anything at all on the police presence until finally people started tweeting, like journalists saying, hey, it's kind of odd, there's only about 10 police officers. I'm just making
because
that
they
number up.
didn't
Not odd
believe
at all.
it. Because the people in the state house didn't actually believe their own rhetoric. They knew these people, as we'll point out tomorrow on radio, went and picked up their own garbage afterwards before they went home.
Yeah, so a minor amount of police presence. Everybody was carrying guns there, thousands of people. Now contrast that to Oregon or Washington State, where they don't let any guns show up. They're protesting the First Amendment or free speech, and tons of police presence, massive riots, businesses getting their windows knocked out, cars on fire, absolute chaos. Now a bunch of pro-Second Amendment people show up with guns, no police, completely safe and peaceful.
Not a coincidence.
It's not just this. I'm sorry, but I don't know any other way to define it. This is America. That's the way Americans behave. They are constitutionalist. That's what we were all raised on. And if you still believe that, you still believe in the right to disagree. You still have a right to say, you're wrong. And they'll say, well, you're a three-headed monster. Fine, whatever. I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to burn your building down. That's what Americans do. Yeah. And that's who showed up in Virginia.
Well, it didn't stop left-wing activists from disseminating false information about what was actually happening in Virginia. We have Alyssa Milano tweeting out, this is what's happening in Virginia right now. Trump's America is what she said. And she attached a video of, as you will see, people walking around with guns. Now, I think where she's going with it is that they're wearing masks. I think because the wind chill was 14 degrees.
Right.
So there was what I heard, a small amount of Antifa who did show up, but they were trying to portray the people who were walking around in like winter gear as
like
being masked and right, as terrorists because they're masked, and it's like, no, they were really cold. It was cold outside and they had to bundle up. Meanwhile, Glenn, as you pointed out, nothing on Antifa whenever they show up.
Okay, so, but also on Antifa.
Yeah.
So the head of the Antifa chapter, or whatever they call themselves, the club, in Richmond, actually did this long tweet thread where they were like, many of you guys are asking us why we didn't show up in masks and go crazy. Is because we don't really believe in some of the Second Amendment stuff ourselves. And they go on and say these were not white nationalists. This was not a fascist organization. There were many different races, colors, and creeds, all different walks of society that are rebelling against the government of Virginia's gun grab. So they were saying the exact same thing. They were actually kind of on our side on this. That's how radical Northam's government is.
The only reason why you do a gun grab in history, the only reason is because you are going to seize power. You are going to do things that the people don't like. When you're out of step with the American people or any people, that's when people want guns to protect themselves against tyranny.
That's the first thing to do in Latin America.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have to put this in context also with some of the other things that the legislature has done. So, for example, within the past few weeks, they introduced legislation to make it harder to charge somebody for property theft. So if you steal something now, you have to meet a $2,000 value threshold just to charge somebody with a felony. So they're trying to triple the level from 500 over to 2,000, and it's absolutely insane.
It's incredible.
In some cities, they won't arrest you unless it's over $500 or.
Dallas County recently
Dallas County is one of those, where you can go in and steal something as long as it's under, I think, $500. No crime. What?
Incredible. Last word?
No, I was going to say the reason why they're doing that is because they want fewer people charged with felonies so that
they can keep their voters?
Exactly. Exactly.
Coming up next, the New York Times, they endorsed not one, but two Democratic presidential candidates. We will tell you who it is when we come back.
So last night, I was like, what are you doing?
Protecting.
CYA.
The New York Times editorial board has endorsed both Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Amy Klobuchar in the 2020 Democratic primary. They said a choice that it reflects the need to consider both the, quote, radical and the, quote, realist approaches to the presidency.
No. Here's what it is. And I got this from the old Hollywood Squares. You guys remember the Hollywood Squares? Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to take Warren to win and Klobuchar to block. Okay? They want her to win, but Biden could stand in the way. So let me give you Klobuchar. If you're thinking about Biden, don't do Biden, do Klobuchar to block.
Interesting.
Hollywood Squares. People said, you're never going to learn anything from there.
Well, apparently you're wrong about that. Jason, you mentioned off air, you don't like the fact that any of these news outlets endorse anyone at all?
Yeah, I felt kind of stupid there for a second because I never really paid attention.
For the 1 second?
Yeah, just for that 1 second. I never paid attention, I guess, what mainstream news outlets, because your perception of a news outlet is we just report the news. You would think.
This is the editorial page, completely different.
Yeah. So ridiculous.
Well,
but I don't think that's their place. I mean, you are manipulating, just if you're picking a candidate you really like, plus you're picking a candidate because you just don't like Biden and just want Klobuchar to block. That's ridiculous. That's manipulating your power.
No. What's the difference between that and twisting stories? It's the same thing.
I mean, you did say I haven't paid attention to this, but how many average Americans do you think do pay attention to who the New York Times endorses as president? I have to believe it's not many at this point in time. Maybe at one time
now I
they
don't
care.
Maybe some on not the left.
It carried more weight
left,
back.
I think, maybe, but not the blue collar Democrats.
Yeah, like old school liberals.
Yeah. The ones like Elizabeth Warren. I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
And Native American.
Yeah.
Does it carry any weight anymore, though? I mean, because
with those people, probably.
Still, you think?
Yeah.
It has like some kind of like prestige to it.
It used to bother, I don't know if it still does, but it used to really bother Donald Trump. That was his hometown paper, and it's the New York Times. The New York Times says it's all the news fit to print. And it used to bother him a lot that the New York Times would do that. I don't think it does now, but I think a lot has changed in the last 4 years.
Well, I think that the Times has become a caricature of itself anyway.
All of them have.
Yeah.
I think what was really weird about the endorsement also is that if you read, so like they lay out like what they perceive to be all of Donald Trump's sins. It was basically, he would appoint ideologues to the Supreme, or he's been appointing ideologues to the Supreme Court. He's like hyper partisan. And then you read, but we're going to endorse Elizabeth Warren. Yeah. Or like Donald Trump is abusing his power. And we're going to endorse Elizabeth Warren, who has promised to like run roughshod over Congress and do everything by executive fiat. It's it's absolutely crazy.
Well, it is funny too if you think about it. You've got both of the people that they endorse. One of them is a documented liar and a cultural appropriator, which we were told is like one of the grave sins of today. And then
you in that furry vest?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cavemen, unite against Sarah.
I'm getting
take our sacred vest. Fire.
Pete is going to be knocking down my door now too. And then you've got Amy Klobuchar, who, according to the New York Times' own reporting, is like abusing her staffers.
She beats the crap out of her staff, apparently.
Oh my gosh, Oh my gosh, I completely forgot that.
Yeah.
I forgot that scandal.
So even the New York Times reported that she was abusing her staffers. All of that is all fine and well, though, as long as, I guess, she blocks Biden. Golly. In other news...
Wouldn't it be great to be a liberal? Seriously. You can get away with anything.
Not have to live by your own rules ever.
Oh my gosh, it'd be great.
I mean, just sacrifice your morals and everything.
That's it.
Fine.
I mean,
Sell your soul
you'll die
to the devil.
a miserable death, but for a while you'll be like,
really fun.
I'm going to all the cool parties, I'm at the cool kids table, I can do anything. Watch this, I'm going to spit on a homeless person, and they'll cheer.
They're like the honey badger. No one screws with them. They can do whatever they want.
What was also like kind of crazy about the endorsement of Klobuchar is that they're almost saying like, we really like Joe Biden, but he's old. Yeah, they said we like all these things about him, and we're more philosophically aligned with him, but he's old.
Good thing Bernie's so young.
There's old, and then there's
Old.
Yeah.
He's 80, and that's fine if you're 80 and you're still. I know 80 and 90-year-olds that are like, but he's not. He's not. He's almost, and I think maybe there, but almost at the place to where we had to look at my grandfather and say, you can't drive anymore. I got to take the keys away from you.
Now, you know, Bernie Sanders, that all the candidates spent time with the New York Times editorial board. Bernie Sanders spent some time with them. There was part of the interview that aired, and I can't say I wonder why they didn't pick him, but you got to hand it to him. He is honest. We'll give him that. Watch.
Look, I don't tolerate bull terribly well. And I come from a different background than a lot of other people who run the country. I'm not good at backslapping. I'm not good at pleasantries. If you have your birthday, I'm not going to call you up to congratulate you so you love me and you write nice things about me. That's not what I do. Never have. And I take that as a little bit of a criticism, self-criticism. I've been amazed at how many people respond to, happy birthday. Oh, Bernie, thanks so much for calling. You know, it works. It's just not my style.
What the hell is?
You know, I try to stay focused on the important issues facing working families in this country, and I fight for them.
It's Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. You couldn't write that. Larry David couldn't write that.
Yeah.
He's talking to the New York Times. I'm not going to call you on your birthday. Don't really care. What does that have to do with anything? And it was even filmed like a Larry David, where you see the people like looking at each other like, what the?
Yeah, you got to start playing the theme song now.
I almost get the sense that they're trying to like they need this fighter. They want to like kind of copy Donald Trump's, you know, his whole shtick. Like, I'll say whatever's on my mind, whatever. I'm not here to be your friend. No one owns me. You know, I'm the tough guy. And it almost seems like he's mimicking.
This is the way he's always. You know, you get hit Bernie's age, and you have a right to be that. You know what I mean? You have a right. You have earned the right at 70.
Really?
Yeah, maybe 65.
So you think old people can just do whatever they want?
Be jerks.
Damn right. Damn right. At any time they can go, what the hell's wrong with you? You can get away with it, okay? No, I'm not sending you a birthday card. I love you. That's enough. Move on. And that's charming in its own way. That guy's been like that since he was 20. Okay, he's always been a grumpy old man. And it's because I don't feel like I need to send you a birthday party. Of course not. He doesn't believe in the individual. What difference does it make your birthday? How's your birthday affect me? I don't know, Dad. I just thought maybe you want to have cake with me.
It was like capitalist constructs to him or something like that. Yeah.
Good point. You don't matter. The individual does not matter. Coincidentally, he was just as angry at 20, and he also looked exactly the same at 20 as well.
He hasn't.
Weird.
He hasn't changed nothing.
I saw him on Donahue.
Look into that.
Like, what?
Someone should look into that. That's a little bit weird. We'll be right back.
I mean, we are in just a parallel universe when he.
Hey, don't forget, if you have not yet subscribed to Stu Does America, he has new content available all week starting today. You got to go to tomorrow, YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And full episodes will start February 4th. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be great. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to BlazeTV, you got to go to BlazeTV.com. Use promo code NEWS. You will get $10 off of your annual subscription. You can catch things like Glenn, who had Candace Owens on earlier today.
Wait until you hear what she says tomorrow. Finish the interview for tomorrow because we ran out of time. Ooh, really good episode tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait. So you can go to BlazeTV.com or you can go to YouTube, again, wherever you get your podcast for Stu Does America. And you've got access to Steven Crowder, you've got Phil Robertson, John Miller with the White House briefing, Eric Bolling. We have got all of the big conservative names. You are not going to want to miss it. Blaze TV. Overtime starts next, and we are going to be talking Warren wants to know, how could the American people want someone who lies to them?
Me no.